Live NFL trivia every Wednesday night on Twitch at 9 p.m. Eastern. Come show off your football knowledge for a chance to win cash prizes. Check the link in the description to find out more. And now, on with our feature presentation. If I were to say that we're talking about the highly controversial ending to the regular season finale in 2001 between the Green Bay Packers and the New York Giants, odds are one thing immediately springs into your mind. This is Michael Strahan, and entering this game, he had 21.5 sacks, just half a sack behind New York Jets defensive end Mark Gastineau, who had 22 sacks in 1984 for the all-time single-season record. All Strahan had to do was knock Brett Favre to the ground once, and his name would be etched forever in NFL history. However, during this game, Strahan was able to get nothing going. It was one of the rare times all season where you couldn't tell that he was on the field if you weren't paying attention to him. With 2:48 left, Strahan was being dominated all day by Green Bay's offensive line, and with everyone just expecting the Packers to run out the clock, up by 9 with under 3 minutes left, it looked like in an already disappointing season for the Giants that it was going to come to an extremely disappointing end for Strahan. Or so you thought, because what followed is, without a doubt, in the over 100-year history of the NFL, the most controversial record-breaking play of all time. Because with 2:48 left, and I'm using the biggest air quotes imaginable here, Strahan knocked Brett Favre to the ground to get the record. There was so much wrong with this play that I don't even know where to begin. There's the fact that Favre just went down, taking a dive that would make some soccer players proud. There's the fact that the play call was 93 blast, a run play to the left side, and Favre changed the play without telling anyone, which meant that no one was blocking Strahan because no one knew what the play was. There's the fact that the Packers' right tackle, who dominated this battle all day long, criticized Favre after the game for gifting Strahan the record, saying, "I'm just going to say it's disappointing. I'm not going to get into anything else. It's disappointing." Everything about this play looks staged, suspect, and fishy, and it's the reason why, for many people, there is a giant asterisk next to Strahan's name in the record book. However, we're not here to talk about that. Most of you probably already knew that controversial ending. We're here to talk about the other controversial ending to this game. We're here to talk about what happened after Strahan set the sack record. Because what followed was New York Giants head coach Jim Fassel doing something truly despicable and disgusting, and compromising the integrity of the game in the process. What followed was, after his brilliant 2000 season the year before, where they made it to the Super Bowl, the moment that everyone turned on Fassel. What followed was a coach flat out saying, "I don't care if we win this game," insulting everyone that spent their time watching this game, and insulting every fan in attendance that bought a ticket. Because if Herm Edwards was saying that you played to win the game, his other tenant in the stadium, Jim Fassel, was saying the exact opposite, leading players and members of the front office to lash out at their leader. And this is the story behind what has to be, in the close to 100-year history of the New York Giants, the most insulting and despicable coaching moment in franchise history. Before I talk about the moment in question that left tons of people furious, we need some context to understand how this game was going, as well as the events that transpired prior to what happened after Strahan's sack. It's January 6, 2002. It's the final week of the 2001 season, and we have a game on our hands at Giants Stadium between the Green Bay Packers and the defending NFC champion New York Giants. This game was originally supposed to be played 3 months ago, but got moved to this date, as did every Week 2 game, following the attacks on September 11th, forcing the league to postpone all games scheduled for that week. And for the purposes of the Giants, while this game meant a lot from the obvious Michael Strahan angle, as the whole country was watching to see if he could break the official sack record, from a team perspective, yeah, this game didn't mean much of anything to New York. This was an extremely disappointing season for New York, especially after having high expectations following their appearance in the Super Bowl the year before, which you can learn more about by clicking the card in the upper right corner. However, for the third time in 3 Super Bowl appearances, they failed to make the playoffs the year after, falling victim to the Super Bowl hangover. After losing to the Philadelphia Eagles last week, they sat at 7-8, sitting below 500 thanks to a lethargic offense, controversially led by offensive coordinator Sean Payton, who was criticized a ton for his play calling during this campaign. The Giants scored just 269 points through 15 games, and when you're averaging less than 18 points per game, and you have an offense that ranks 25th in the NFL out of 31 teams, it's not hard to see why you're struggling. Not at all. After starting 5-4, this was a New York team that was reeling, having lost 4 of their last 6 games, including a 24-21 heartbreaker to Philly the week before. They couldn't win the division. They were 3 back there with 1 to play. They couldn't get a wild card. The number 6 seed entering this game was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who were 9-6, so they were 2 up on the Giants with 1 to play. The Giants could not make the playoffs. At this point, from a team perspective, the Giants were just playing for pride to close out the season on a high note and to avoid a losing record. Unfortunately, things were not looking good for the Giants whatsoever, as the Packers were out on the front foot in this one. After the Packers forced a 3-and-out, 4 plays into their drive, Brett Favre threw a 26-yard touchdown pass to Bill Schrader to give Green Bay an early 7-0 lead not even 4 minutes into the game. Then, Kerry Collins threw an interception to Darren Sharper, and 3 plays after that, the Packers found the end zone yet again, as Amon Green ran it in from 25 yards out. We were just 6 minutes into this game. The Giants started off with the ball, and already, the Packers were up 14-0. And while the Giants were not going down without a fight at first, as what looked like it had the makings of a bloodbath was only a 1-possession game at the half, by the end of the third quarter, it looked like the Packers were in complete control, and were going to walk away from here with a win. Following a 1-yard touchdown run by Amon Green, his second of the day, and a 54-yard touchdown pass by Brett Favre to Corey Bradford, the Packers led at 34-10. And it looked like the Giants were going to end an extremely disappointing season on an extremely sour note. But in the fourth quarter, to New York's credit, they fought back and made it a contest. 2 minutes into the final period, Tiki Barber punched it in from 10 yards out. Inexplicably, head coach Jim Fassel had Morten Andersen kick the extra point to make it 34-17, taking what was a 3-possession game and turning it into a 3-possession game. Seriously, if you're down by 24, you go for 2 if you score the touchdown. It's basic math. And on their next drive, even though they took their sweet time doing it, as the Giants had a 19-play drive, they were able to move 99 yards down the field, with Ron Dane punching it in from a yard out to make it 34-23. This time, the Giants do go for 2, and they convert it, making it a 34-25 ball game. Down by 9 points with 3 minutes left, and you've got all your timeouts. Things just got a little bit interesting. Now, is it likely they are going to come back? I mean, if you're a betting man, you're still absolutely putting your money on the Packers. But not a whole lot has to happen, relatively speaking, to do this. Get a stop, score a touchdown, recover the onside kick, and then kick the field goal. And voila, you win the game. It's doable. This is not like the game from earlier in the 2001 season involving the Packers, where I criticized Green Bay head coach Mike Sherman for leaving Brett Favre in and risking injury, because they should have waved the white flag, seeing as they were down by 28 points with under a minute left. You can learn more about that by clicking the card in the upper right corner. 9 points in 3 minutes? It is definitely doable. No question about it. Which is why after the Giants tried the onside kick and failed, with the Packers getting the ball back, everyone, from the players, to the front office, to the fans, to anyone associated with the team, was furious with what Jim Fassel was about to do next. Because he did what no man who has the honor of coaching in the National Football League should do. He gave up. On first down, Strahan gets that illustrious sack. In a normal world, with any coach who actually cares about winning, you'd call timeout here to stop the clock. Remember throughout all of this, that New York has all 3 of their timeouts left. But watch the clock after the Strahan sack. It's still running. The Giants opt not to call a timeout. Second down, and the Packers call a running play. And the Giants opt not to call a timeout, letting it run down to the 2-minute warning. Third down, and the Packers call a running play. And once again, the Giants opt not to call a timeout. New York could have gotten the ball back with somewhere in the ballpark of 2:20 left. Instead, because of Fassel's decision to not call a single timeout, they're only getting it back with 1 minute left. And then, when the Giants do get it back, they call passing plays that are inbounds, and opt not to use any of their timeouts, with Fassel explicitly telling quarterback Kerry Collins to not burn a single timeout. The Giants lose this game 33-24, and they leave it with all 3 second-half timeouts in their back pocket, having not used a single one. In a 9-point game, the Giants were still very much in it. However, like an absolute coward, Fassel waved the white flag. And at first, no one knew why he did it. General Manager Ernie Accorsi said, "I don't want to get into it. Let's leave it at that." So you could tell that he was fuming with his head coach. Left tackle Lomas Brown was asked about Fassel's bizarre strategy to just give up at the end. And Brown, playing what would be his last ever game with the Giants, said on this, "I don't know why he did that. I thought we had a chance. I don't know if he figured we couldn't get it done. I don't know what happened. I guess he had his reasons." Oh, he had his reasons, all right. At first, he kept it as top secret information, saying, "That's something I'll keep to myself," which is quite the statement to make, seeing as your players and your general manager are openly questioning your desire to win. And your rebuttal is, "Nah, I'm not going to say why I did it," like it's confidential information that needs to be protected at all costs. However, that philosophy lasted about a day, because the very next day, he revealed why he did it. And Fassel's response? Yeah, he cared more about next season than he did this season. He couldn't care less if the Giants won this game or not. As Fassel said on waving the white flag, the first guy who flashed through my mind was Kerry Collins. If that guy tears an ACL, and I'm trying to salvage something that I have a very small chance of happening, and he misses the first 10 games, I am not only wiping out this year, I am wiping out next year. In other words, Fassel said, "I don't want my guys getting hurt, and we're down by 9. We're not winning this game. Let's just move on." The logic in this is absolutely baffling, so prepare yourselves, because quite literally nothing about Fassel's comments made sense. First off, saying that coming back from 9 points had a small chance of happening. I completely agree. It's almost impossible to come back from a 9-point deficit with 3 minutes left. The last time a team scored 10 points in the final 3 minutes of a game to come back from behind and win it, you have to go all the way back to, hang on, let me check my notes. Here we go. Last week! Seriously, the week before this game, your New York Giants, leading at 21-14 with 3 minutes left, allowed 10 points in the final 3 minutes to the Eagles to lose it 24-21. Sure, I wouldn't bet money on you winning this game down by 9 with 3 minutes left, but I'm not going to turn off the game. You're still in it. Needing a touchdown and a field goal is by no means out of the realm of possibility. And to have the audacity to say that to your fans and your players, that you can't erase this deficit, when not even 2 months ago, the Chicago Bears were down by 14 points with less than 30 seconds left against the Cleveland Browns, and they somehow won that game, makes you lose all credibility. Second, you didn't do this because you didn't want to risk injury to Kerry Collins. Fine, I get it. In that case, then why the heck did you play Kerry Collins in the final minute of the game? How does that make any sense whatsoever? If you put in Jason Garrett or Jesse Palmer for the final minute when you get the ball back, fine. But you put Collins in the game and had him throw 4 passes, thereby putting him at an injury risk for that torn ACL on 4 plays. You decided not to risk injury to Collins by deciding to play Collins. That's like if I was lactose intolerant and my friends asked me if I want to go out for ice cream, and I say that I can't because I'm lactose intolerant. So then, I go into my freezer and decide to eat some ice cream. You get how this doesn't make sense, right? If you get the ball back and you just call some run plays, or you get the ball back and put in your backup quarterback, that's one thing. But to do this? Are you stupid? Or are you just intentionally trying to insult everyone's intelligence? Because, and I don't say this lightly, this might legitimately be some of the dumbest reasoning I've ever heard a coach give for anything. And this isn't even considering the fact that at no point during the 2001 season did Collins spend any time in the trainer's room or suffer an injury. But I think the craziest part about all of this is how much of a slap in the face this was to everybody watching this game, to everybody braving the cold New York weather to attend, and to everybody who spent their hard-earned money to watch you guys play, sticking by you even through a tough season. Because here you have a coach just openly admitting, yeah, I didn't really care whether or not we won or lost this game. This was the first home game after Christmas for the Giants this season. Think of how many kids got tickets to this Giants game as a Christmas present, and were excited to watch their favorite team play, and were looking forward to this day for a while. And they had to watch their team lose, not necessarily because they got outplayed, but because you couldn't be bothered as a head coach to do your job and finish the game. When you are a coach in the NFL, making the kind of money that you do, you owe it to the fans and to everyone involved to try your best and go out for the win. And even if it is the slightest bit plausible that you can do it, you go for it. There is too much on the line. I've criticized a ton of coaches on this channel before for some absolutely dumb decisions that they made, including some absolutely terrible head coaches like Gus Bradley, Ken Meyer, and Joe Judge. And you can see me break down Joe Judge's infamous quarterback sneak on 3rd and 9 by clicking the card in the upper right corner. But as dumb as these moves were that these coaches made, I never questioned their desire to win the game. Yes, I questioned their logic wholeheartedly, but I never doubted for 1 second that they wanted to win this game. And they just went about it in the worst and stupidest way possible. But here, with Jim Fassel, you had a coach committing the cardinal sin of coaching. You had players and front office members openly questioning his desire to win, and they were 100% justified, because nothing about what Fassel did and nothing about his explanation makes any sense whatsoever. On this day in 2002, Jim Fassel heard a fat lady singing with 3 minutes left and only down by 9 points, and he was the only one in America who could hear her voice. Just a disgusting end to a disgusting season. Get your official Jaguar Gator 9 merchandise by going to jg9shop.com, and be sure to like this video, ring the notification bell, and subscribe down below if you haven't already, as it helps the channel out a lot. And be sure to check out Twitch every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern for your chance to play NFL Trivia and win cash prizes. Link in the description below. If you want to see videos like this condensed down to 60 seconds, then follow me on TikTok at Jaguar Gator 9. To see college football videos, subscribe to Jaguar Gator 8. To see highlight videos of players throughout the history of the NFL, subscribe to JG9 Highlights. Also, special thanks to all of our Patreon supporters for helping out the channel. Your support is greatly appreciated. See how you can become a patron and request future video topics in the description below.